Hello, everyone. Welcome to the online Oracle card creation workshop. This is a LEXSA online workshop and hosted by me, Lisa Jonas. Today, I'm going to guide you through a process of creating 48 Oracle cards, in a very basic way. And I hope we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And you can then use these Oracle cards to do your own readings. All right, let's get started. So to begin, you need 6 sheets of paper, which should be the same color. So you can either go with very normal white copy paper, or you can also use colored copy paper. They come in these pastel colors. So that's a really good option. If you want your Oracle cards to be a bit fancier, I suggest that you create or that you use a thicker type of paper. So maybe a bit of cardboard or thinner cardboard paper. But for our purpose today, it can just be really simple white copy paper. So 6 sheets of paper, unless you prefer to create a pocket oracle, which is a lot smaller. So in this case, you would need 3 sheets of paper. So once you have sorted out your paper, you also need a scissor and a selection of colored pens or crayons. So just make sure that you have all these materials in front of you before you begin this Oracle card workshop. And if you don't have this nearby, then just pause this video, collect all of your materials, and then come back to it once you're ready. So once you've got your paper in front of you, you will fold your paper in half and cut this A4 page into 2 pieces. So on the middle line, cut it into 2 equal-sized pieces. And once you have those 2 pieces, you will cut each one of these pieces in half again, which makes a total of 4 pieces. You want to make sure that they are more or less the same size. Now, if you feel like you just want to, create this Oracle card set as a prototype so that you can fine-tune and beautify it later, then just do it very simply. Don't worry too much if it's a bit crooked, or if your drawings or your writings on these cards is a little bit basic. So you can take time to beautify them later. So don't worry too much about perfection at this time. So once you've got your 4 pieces, cut those 4 pieces in half again, which makes a total of 8 pieces. And these 8 pieces should be now a nice Oracle card size. They're still sort of on the small side. But we would work with these 8 pieces, and then you would repeat the same process for your other 5 pages. Now, if you are creating a pocket Oracle card deck and you have only 3 pages in front of you, one you have already cut up, then the 8 pieces you've cut up, you cut them in half again, which makes a very, very small Oracle card. So, and then you do the same with your other pages. So in total, you should have 48 cards once you have once you've used all of your sheets of paper. So just take a moment to complete this process for all of the sheets that you have in front of you until you have your 48 Oracle cards. All right, and if you feel like you need longer because you're working with a ruler and you want it to be cut out really accurately, then just pause this video and get back to it once you are set up. All right, let's move on to our next step. So we will have our 48 pieces in front of us, and we can divide these 48 pieces into 8 stacks of 6 cards. Now you can also leave them in one pile and just take one card off it at a time. In total, we are going to explore 8 different card making categories of 6 cards each. So yeah, maybe put the first 6 cards in front of you or close by and the rest sort of on the side. Also, a good idea is to decide whether you would like to draw your oracle cards now. So during this process, so we will explore different symbols and pictures that you can draw onto your oracle card. If you just want this to be a prototype and you're not worried too much about perfectionism, just make sure you draw quick symbols or images, something very simple, something very fun and simple. And yeah, so you have this prototype and can already use it at the end of this class. You can also decide to draw later. So to write the words at the bottom of each card, so the card title, and then draw the images at a later time. So you can do that as well. Or if you do not feel like drawing at all, you can simply use the words that we're going to explore and write them in a really beautiful way on these paper pieces. All right, so we are going to start this process of card creation in a moment. And at the end, we will have our 48 cards, and I will then guide you through 2 demonstrations of how you can use your cards for your own personal readings. So you will do your own readings at the end of this class. Alrighty, let's get started with our first card category. And remember, you can quickly draw an image, as a prototype, or just write the word at the bottom of the card if you want to draw more specific images later, or you can only use the words. It's completely up to you. So let's get started with our first category. And as you can see, our first category is animals. So we are going to create 6 cards with 6 different animals. So take your first card and ask yourself, which animal could you see as a friend or companion? So for some of you, this might be a cat or a dog, or specifically a kitten or a puppy, or it might be a horse, a budgie, or perhaps a snake or a hamster or a guinea pig. And you would simply write the name of this animal the bottom of your card, and with the intention to draw this animal in the center of your card. So simply think of an animal. If you're working with words only and not with imagery at all, then just write the animal over the whole card. But if you do intend to draw this animal, so either sketch it briefly now or intend to draw it more specific at a later time, then leave most of the card blank and only write the name of this animal that you've chosen at the bottom of this card. Okay, so I will just give you a moment to do this. Make sure you write in a color that you like and that you associate with this animal. And for those of you who want to draw this animal, feel free to sketch it or draw a shape or an outline of this animal in this card. Some of you might also research actual photos or pictures online later and print it out, and you can glue it onto your card if you prefer that. So yeah, the first card should represent an animal that you would see as a friend or a companion. So if you ever pull this card in a reading, you know it most likely will mean something positive. And I will guide you through how to evaluate the cards that you draw in an oracle card reading, more specifically at the end of this video. So let's just continue with our card creation process. And we will continue with card number 2, which is an animal that represents strength. So ask yourself, which animal represents strength? And you might choose something like a lion or an elephant or a horse or a buffalo. So simply choose an animal that represents strength, and again, write the name of this animal at the bottom of the card, or if you only work with words, over the whole card. But if you want to draw this animal or look for a photo and glue it onto this card, you can do this in the middle of the card and just write the animal name at the bottom. So let's say you have chosen an elephant. This is going to be your elephant card. All right, and some of you might also like to briefly sketch this animal. And if you need more time right now, you just pause this video and resume once you have created your animal. All right, let's have a look at card number 3. Which animal do you associate with happiness? Now, this could either be an animal that is very happy, or that seems very happy to you, or an animal that makes you happy. Just make sure that you're not repeating any animals on your cards, so that you're never repeating the same card name or the same card image. And that goes for all the cards that we're going to do. So for now, just simply choose an animal you connect with the word happiness and write the name of this animal onto your card. And if you want, you can sketch this animal briefly. And now we are going to move on to card number 4. And this is about an animal that we associate with freedom. Now, for some of you, this might be perhaps an eagle or a dolphin or any other animal that you associate with freedom. So simply write the name of this animal at the bottom of the card and then sketch this animal in the center of your card. Just take a moment for this. And once you have completed this card 4, we will move to card number 5. And this is a card for an animal that you associate with wisdom. Now, lots of people might think of an owl or a cat or a raven that they associate with wisdom, or you might completely think of a different animal. This is really just about your own association, listening to your own impulses and connections, making connections between words and imagery. So think of an animal you associate with wisdom and then write the name of this animal at the bottom of the card, as we've done before, and then sketch the animal above it. Just make sure that all of your cards have the same blank backside. They look the same from the back. And you might also purchase a beautiful colored paper that you might glue onto the back if you want your cards to be more special and to avoid being able to see through anything that you have drawn on the other side. So yeah. All right, let's go to card number 6. This is about an animal that represents resilience. So simply think of an animal that you perceive as being very resilient or that you associate with the word resilience. For some of you, that might be a squirrel because they collect a lot of nuts. Or it might be a kangaroo or a platypus. Sort of think about the word resilience and what that means to you and which animal would fit that description. This could also be animals who live in challenging environments, either very hot climates or cold climates. Yeah, so have a think about that. And then once you've chosen your animal, simply write the name of this animal at the bottom of your card and then draw the picture above. And now you should have 6 cards with 6 different animals on them. And if you want, you can, once you have finished with card 6, you can simply turn them upside down and spread them out very randomly so you can mix all the other cards we're creating through. So they're already getting a bit mixed up. You don't have to keep them together. Okay, then let's move on to category 2, which is objects. And again, we're going to create 6 different cards. Now, we have already created our first set of 6, and now we are moving on to our second set of 6. And there we go to card number 1. And we are asking, what is an object you associate with fun or positivity? Simply think of an object that is either fun or positive or reminds you of something uplifting or engaging. It might be an object you use in sports, or it might be something you use in theater or in arts. Simply follow your instinct, your intuition. And once you have chosen your object, just write the name of the object at the bottom. You can also choose to write the word fun or positivity as your card name, if you prefer that. And then simply draw the object in the center of the card. Yeah. So for those of you sketching, just draw a brief outline of this object. Some of you might want to beautify it later or download a picture of this object and print it out and glue it onto the card. Or if you're just working with words, you can simply write either the word fun, positivity, or upliftment onto the card, or simply call the card after the object that you've chosen. All right, let's move on to card number 2 in this category, which is about representing a treasure or valuable object. Now, this could be a treasure chest. It could be a pearl or a diamond or something gold. Simply choose a treasure or an object, whatever resonates with you most, and then write the name of this treasure or valuable object at the bottom of your card. while outlining the image above. And if any of you are working with words only, you can also decorate these words a bit with different colors or a little symbol. Yeah, just to kind of emphasize the word on your card. So you create a bit of an atmosphere, a good visual representation, even if you're only working with writing. All right, and once you have finished card number 2, we are going to card number 3 in this category, and we're going to represent something connected with time, a clock or an hourglass. So simply represent this image, and you could call this card time, or you could call it the hourglass or clock. So you can, you know, be creative with how you name the cards. That's completely up to you. And I would suggest to create a prototype now, so that if you are really serious about creating your own oracle cards, then you could expand on this later and brainstorm on this later. This is really just a template for you to work on those cards. And the beautiful thing about oracle cards is that you can use anything to create your own oracle card, because it's really just about receiving messages or picking up and reflecting on your own emotions or whatever else is going on in your life. And that's very different to tarot cards, where we have very specific card names and purposes. So we're very free in oracle cards. So let's just have a bit of fun with that. So once you've finished your card number 3, let's move on to card number 4, and we are going to draw a magic wand or a fairy wand. So this is a bit of a magical card. You can call this card magic or wand or magic wand or fairy wand or any other word that you prefer. Simply write that word on the bottom of the card and then draw the imagery at the top. And then we move on, once you have done that, to card number 5, where we will represent a crown or another jewelry item. So this could be a necklace, pendant, earrings, a ring, or a hat, one of those fancy horse races hats. A fascinator, I think they're called. Yeah, or a crown, a tiara, anything that you resonate with most. And simply name the card based on what you have chosen. And write that name at the bottom of the card and then the image above. Alrighty. And then we're moving to card 6 in this category, and that is about drawing a symbol that resonates with you. So we are going into the realms of symbolism. Now, there are so many symbols in this world. Many of you probably know the peace symbol, symbols for male and female, the yin and yang, a Celtic cross, any astrological symbols, or simply symbols like the rainbow, or any spiritual symbols that you might know, any runes you might know, depending on what your interest is in symbols. Some of you might know the chakra symbols, so you can use any of those. And if there are any Harry Potter fans out there amongst you, the symbol of the Deathly Hallows, perhaps. That's an easy one. And if you can't think of any symbol, just draw a triangle or a square or a house. Yeah, so simply think of a symbol and write the name of the symbol at the bottom of the card and then draw the symbol above. And that concludes our category number 2, which is objects. And as we've done before, you can turn all those 6 cards you've created upside down and mix them with the other cards that we've already created. Okay, let's move on to category number 3. And this category is called archetypes. And again, we are looking at our next 6 cards. Okay, let's go to card number 1. And here we represent a witch or a wizard. So this is another magic card. You can draw a witch or wizard, or you can represent a witch's hat or any other symbol or item that you associate with a witch or a wizard. Now, we just keep in mind we have already done a magic wand, so just make sure you choose something else. Could also be a black cat, if you like, or a Halloween pumpkin. Or, yeah, I would go with a hat. Or you can actually draw the outline of a witch or a wizard or a broomstick. Yeah. So just be creative with this and just follow your own association. All right. Then again, you can call this card the witch or the wizard, or you can call it magic if you haven't chosen that previously. Or you can call it spell, something in this category. All right. Then let's have a look at card number 2. Here you have a few options. You can represent an angel, a fairy, or a fairy godmother. So you might just choose to represent angel wings, or fairy dust, or little fairy wings, or a tiny little fairy in a fairy forest, or a big pumpkin, perhaps from the fairy godmother that turns Cinderella's pumpkin into a carriage. You can also bring in the golden slipper, whatever you feel might fit into this category. And then just name your card and also draw the symbol above. Let's go to card number 3. And here we are going to either represent a unicorn or a phoenix. I'm pretty sure that most people will be familiar with the phoenix. In case someone doesn't know what a phoenix is, it's a bird. And this bird burns until only a pile of ashes is left and is reborn out of the ashes. So it's really a symbol for transformation and rebirth. Harry Potter fans certainly will know what a phoenix is. And if you're part of the spiritual community, you will definitely know it. Okay, so just choose whether you resonate with a unicorn more or a phoenix. And then you can name the card unicorn or phoenix. And draw the outline of either one of them in the center of the card. Now let's move on to card number 4. And if you need more time, you can pause at any moment here and just resume when you're ready. Card number 4, here we will represent a warrior, a hero, or a superhero. So you might think of famous warriors you know, or heroes or superheroes. And you can either depict them as they show up in your imagination, or you might think of a weapon that they might have, maybe a sword or a cape. Yeah, something that you associate with this warrior, hero, or superhero. That's maybe what you might want to use for your image, but you can call this card warrior or hero, and yes, superhero as well. So simply make your choice. And once you have depicted this card number 4, we are going to move on to card number 5, which represents a mentor or guide. You can either call this card mentor or guide, or you can identify this mentor and just name the mentor. So for example, if you, let's say, choose Yoda from Star Wars as your mentor or guide, you just call the card Yoda, all right? If you choose a guide that is more of an archetype, perhaps a druid or, you know, a wise woman or a wise man, then simply use those names. So here we are simply representing a mentor or guide, which you can depict on the card via imagery, or you might also think about the guidance they represent. So you can think of a symbol for guidance. Could be a compass, or it could be an arrow into a certain direction, or a crossroad. Yeah. So just have a think about what symbol you would like to use if you're using symbols at this time. And once you've completed this card, we are going to continue with card 6, which is about representing a family or a community, meaning tribe. So you can call this card family, community, or tribe. And then think of a symbol or an image that represents the meaning of this card. So if you're choosing family, of course, you can draw a family, or you might also draw a house, which is connected to home. And if you're representing community, you might draw 2 hands holding each other, or people standing in a circle holding hands. Or you might, create sort of an image of a village, or any other symbol that you associate with community or tribe. And then we have completed another set of 6 cards, which is category 3. We've got 5 more to go. And as we've done before, turn those cards upside down and mix them with the other cards. And we are moving on to our next category, category 4, which is scenery. Here again, we look at another 6 cards. So card number 1, we are going to draw a sun, sunset, or sunrise. So an image connected with the sun. And you just choose the word sun, sunset, or sunrise, depending on how you would like the name of this card to be. For example, if you draw this card in an oracle reading, the sun, it might mean something positive, something is working out. If it's a sunset, maybe it's something coming to an end. Or if it's a sunrise, it might indicate a new beginning. So simply just choose one of those options, the one that kind of resonates with you the most, write down the word, and then draw your image, if that's what you're doing at this time. And then we move on to card number 2, which is we are going to draw the ocean or an ocean symbol, for example, a ship or a whale. And here again, you can name this card ocean, or you can name it ship or whale or wave, or whatever you choose to represent this ocean. So name your card and draw the image. And then we move on to card number 3, which is an island, a tower, or a lighthouse. So this is a card about isolation. Now, if you would like to draw an island, this would be surrounded by ocean, and perhaps it would be a little bit more peaceful. A tower might represent more confinement, and a lighthouse might represent more hope. So just choose one of those 3 options and call the card either island, tower, or lighthouse. All right. And then moving on to card number 4, we're going to draw a mountain, a volcano, or a hill. And that's completely up to you which one of those that you're choosing. Just choose the one that resonates with you most or that you can draw the easiest. And then just name your card and draw your symbol. And then we have card number 5. We're going to draw a garden or a flower meadow. So simply name your card garden or meadow, and then create a little image for this. Okay. And then card number 6 will be connected to a cave or an underground tunnel. So this is something that could represent depth or something that is hidden. You can either choose to draw the entrance of a cave or something that is already underground. You might also draw an underground lake, perhaps. Just see whatever resonates there with you. And you can call this card cave, tunnel, or simply underground. Okay. So again, now we have 6 cards, and we will turn them over and mix them with the other cards. And we are going to move on to our next category. And I will now go a bit faster through these categories. And you might just write down the words and then fill in the images a bit later. Okay, so here we are with category 5, which is to do with word association. So we're going to create card number 1, and we draw a representation of the word luck. So we will call the card luck, and you simply think of a symbol that you associate with the word luck. So it might be a golden horseshoe, it might be a clover, or any other form of luck. And then we will move to card number 2, which is about drawing a representation of the word abundance. Something that, an object or a visual or a color that you connect with abundance. So just write the word abundance at the bottom. And then we will do the same with card number 3, which is a representation of the word love. The really easy way, of course, will be to write the word love at the bottom and simply draw a love heart. But you might also choose something different. And then we have card number 4, which is about drawing a representation of the word success. And it can be something really simple, like an upwards pointing arrow, or a medal, or any other symbol that you associate with success. And on card number 5, we are going to represent the word health. So this is a health card. You might represent something on this card that is resembling a remedy, perhaps a healing herb, or any other symbol that you associate with health. And then we are going to represent the word joy on card number 6. Whatever you associate with the word joy. And once you have completed that, simply take those 6 cards and turn them upside down and mix them with the other cards. And as I've already said, you can complete those drawings later. It's mostly about making some note of the words, and you can take time for imagery a bit later and also update your cards accordingly. All right, let's move on to category 6, which is nature. And here with card number 1, we are going to create a tree, a forest, or tree roots. For example, if you want this card to indicate grounding, you might draw the tree roots, but you might also be more attracted to creating a tree or forest. And you might call this card tree, forest, or roots, or you might call it grounding or strength, or any other word you associate with forest or trees. Then we have card number 2, which is draw a flower or a bouquet of flowers. So you can simply just choose one flower or a bouquet of flowers. So you can name this card flower, or you can be more specific. If you're drawing a rose, name the card rose. And if you're drawing a bouquet of flowers, you might just call it flowers or gift. And then card number 3 is either a butterfly, a dragonfly, or a bee. So simply choose whichever one you like best, and then name the card accordingly and draw the shape or the outline of a butterfly, a dragonfly, or a bee. And you can choose again here with card number 4, which is drawing a snowflake, a raindrop, or a shooting star. So simply choose one of those, whichever one you like best, and represent the name on the card and an image if you're working with imagery. Card number 5 will be either a snail, a turtle, or a sloth. So it's very obviously a card about taking things slow. It might potentially also depict stagnation or being stuck or slowed down. So it can be both a positive or negative meaning. So simply call the card snail, turtle, or sloth, or you can also call it slow down. And then create an image if you would like. And last but not least, card number 6 here in category number 6, which is draw a bird, a bird's nest, or egg, an egg. So again, choose which one you like best. You can name it bird, nest, egg, or any word you associate with those words. And that's category 6 done. Another 6 cards, which you can turn upside down and mix with the other cards. So you already have quite a good pile of cards in front of you. And we only have 2 more categories to go, and then I will talk you through a simple process of doing your own card reading. So let's move on to category number 7, which is called colors. So here we are simply working with colors. Card number 1, draw something you associate with blue. Now, if you want, you can simply create a blue circle, or you might think actually of something that you associate with the color blue. And you can choose to call this card blue, or you can call it depending on what you have chosen to associate blue with. So let's say you've chosen an eye, a blue eye with the color blue, so you can call this card eye or foresight or something connected to this blue eye. And if you've chosen to draw a blue bird, then call it bluebird or blue, or whatever this bird reminds you of. All right, and then card number 2, we draw something that you associate with the color red. So you can call the card red or name it after whatever you associate with red. For example, heart or blood or a red car. You can call it car. And then card number 3 will be something that you associate with the color green. Simply think of something green. It could be something like a leaf, anything plant-based, or a frog, and name the card either green, frog, or plant, or leaf, whatever you prefer. And then we have card number 4, which is something you associate with yellow. Card number 5 is something you associate with pink. And card number 6 is something you associate with black. So if you want more time to draw imagery for those 3 cards here at the end, just pause the video and resume once you finish your drawing. But it's also sufficient if you write yellow, pink, or black at the bottom of the card, or what you associate with yellow. So it could be a sunflower, then you can name the card sunflower. If you use pink, it could be a flamingo. Or if you use black, it could be a raven or a crow or charcoal. Yeah. Yeah, and once you've done these 6 cards, turn them upside down and mix them with the other cards. And I will quickly talk you through category number 8, which is again a word association exercise. Those are our last 6 cards, and we're going to draw a representation of the word self-care on our first card. So you can either name the card self-care and then draw something that you associate with self-care. For some people, it might be a lotion, or it might be bath bubbles, or it might be going for a walk, so a pathway. So simply choose a symbol or an image connected to self-care. And then we also choose a representation of the word acceptance for our second card. So think of acceptance and what acceptance looks like for you and what you associate with acceptance. So that's what you call the card, acceptance, and then simply create an image for that. And it's similar with card number 3, but here we are going to represent the word healing. So that's your card name. And then creating an image that represents healing to you. It could be a hand, or it could be a frequency, Yeah. Or it could be a closed eye. And then on card number 4, we are going to represent the word endings. And you could here draw a stop sign or any other symbol you associate with endings. Card number 5 will be named celebration. And here again, you choose a symbol that represents the word celebration. So it would be perhaps a champagne bottle opening, or 2 glasses toasting, or a balloon, or whatever else you represent with the word celebration, whatever you connect with that word. And then coming to our last card before we get into our card readings, which is card number 6 in category 8, draw a representation of the word change. So simply write the word change down and then draw whatever comes first into your head when you think of change. And once you have done that, you have all of your 48 cards. So here with those 6 cards, also turn them upside down and mix them with all the other cards. And now we are going to move on into our card reading sections. So I've written down all the steps here for you, but I'm going to guide you through. Now you will take all of your cards and shuffle them. That's our first step. And I'm going to show you 2 different options of your personal card readings. These are very simple options. And you might also want to have a separate sheet of paper and a pen close by so you can write down your insights during this exercise. So we're going to use all of our cards, so simply shuffle them, mix them up, and you can either spread those cards out in front of you, or you can keep them in a pile in your hand and slightly fan them out in your hand so you can select different cards. And then you select 3 cards. Don't open them yet, just place them facing down in front of you. You can hover with your hand to decide which card you want to pick, or just pick any card that stands out to you. Sometimes when we shuffle cards, we might also have cards that are falling out of the stack. And so these might be good cards to pick. They want attention. So yeah, simply select 3 cards and place them facing down in front of you. And now we're going to turn the first card over. Now you can choose any of those 3 cards to look at first. Just turn it over and read the word on that card. If the card has an image yet, you can view the image. And then once you've read the word of the card, write down on your notepad 3 words that you associate with this card. Let's say you have drawn the card called acceptance. So your 3 words might be self-love, tolerance, and warm. So these are already messages coming through for you. Once you've written down your 3 words, write down how this card reflects your current life situation. Just sort of take a moment to reflect as in, how does this card fit into my life? Do I currently struggle? Like if you, for example, have drawn this acceptance card, do I currently struggle with acceptance, or does it come easy? So just see if there is any connection to your current life situation that is obvious, or whether there could be a connection that is more like a metaphor. It might relate to a relationship in your life. It might connect to your work life. So just sort of see intuitively whatever insight comes up first. And as our next step, so take some notes about any insights you receive. And then in our next step, we're going to ask if this card Oh, there's a typo I'm seeing here. If this card could tell you something, what would it say? So if there's any message that this card has. So for example, if you have pulled out the acceptance card, this card might say, be gentle with yourself, or accept yourself more, or it's time to rest more, or don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah. So just simply ask, if this card could tell you something, what would it say? And then we are going to repeat this process with the other two cards. So turn your second card over, read the word, look at the image, and then write down 3 words that you associate with this card. And these can be nouns, adjectives, verbs. Just simply write down 3 words that you associate with this card. And then have a think about how this card currently reflects your current life situation. If you can connect it somehow to your life. Or if this card actually connects with the first card that you've already explored. Is there a connection between those 2 cards? So any insights you receive, simply write them down. And then ask again, if this card could tell you something, what would it say? So what is a message that this card might send to you if it could talk? So simply write that down. And then we repeat the process with our last card. So again, turn your last card over and then write down 3 words that you associate with this card. And see how this card reflects your current life situation. If you can create connections. And then ask, if this card was able to tell you something, what would it say? Beautiful. Now you've done your very first card reading. Now, the more you think about about your cards in the creation of this card process, the deeper your insights will be. The more time you spend preparing your cards or becoming familiar with your cards, the more messages will come through. So you might, if you're intending to create your own card set in a more elaborate way, you might reflect on that. All right, let's have a look at our second way of doing card readings. And that's also a very common and very simple way to do readings. And this is about insights into your past, present, and future situation. So again, we are shuffling our cards and we're spreading our cards out in front of us or keeping them in a pile in our hand while slightly fanning them out. And we're going to select 3 cards and place them facing down in a horizontal row. So you will have 3 cards next to each other, and we're going to look first to the card on the left. And this card represents your past. So turn over the card and read the word and view the image. And then write down 3 words that you associate with this card. And these 3 words will relate to your past. Write down how this card could reflect your life, particularly your past life or a past habit or a past way of being. And again, the next step, if this card could tell you something, again, the same typo, I apologize. If this card could tell you something, what would it say? And once you've written that down, we are going to turn our attention to the middle card. And this middle card represents our present situation, as in right now. And turn over this middle card and then write down 3 words that you associate with this card. And then write down how this card could reflect your current life situation, your present situation. And if this card was able to tell you something, what would it say? And then last but not least, we are going to turn our attention to the card on the right, which represents our future. And we are going to turn the card over and read the word. And if you have an image, you might also look at the image. Write down 3 words that you associate with this card. And then write down how this card could reflect your life in the future. What's the message that's coming through about the future? And then ask your card if this card could tell you something, what would it say? You can ask your card directly, if you could tell me something, what would you say? And just see what messages are coming through. Now, the more intuitive you are, the more messages you will pick up. You will not just take your cues from the actual cards, but that's something that comes with practice. Even by simply looking at the cards and your own associations, you might gain some clarity or insight into your current life situation. Because really, sometimes we consult oracle cards to confirm what we already know or what we actually would like to choose. Or sometimes it confirms problems that might be there that we maybe don't want to face. So it's really about yourself, using these cards in a playful way to discover yourself more. So yeah, here we go. We have done the past, present, and future card. So these are 2 good ways of using your cards. And thank you so much for participating in this workshop. And if you want to beautify your cards or remake them, you're more than welcome. And some of you might already have their own card deck, so that's really beautiful. I hope you have enjoyed this workshop. And yeah, maybe I will see you another time for round 2 of Oracle card creation. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.